What's happening, party people? This is your friend Angelo here. It's been a minute since I've come on here and talked about my oligodendroglioma update. When I started this YouTube channel, I was talking a lot about the condition of my brain tumor. I was diagnosed on the 10th of September 2013, and I found out about it because I had a really awful feeling when I woke up that day. Knew something was terribly wrong. Couldn't put a finger on what it was because I was having a seizure. I'd never had one before, and this was an aura or whatever they call it. It's a precursor to actually going into the seizure. And I told my roommate and my landlord at the time to take my keys, drive me to the ER. Something's going wrong. And sure enough, on the way I'm buckled in, we're going to the hospital in Eugene, Oregon, and I just start fritzing out. And it's the most frightening and odd thing that I've ever been through. Like, maybe this is the end. Maybe this is the end of my life. And it was scary. And it wasn't even the scariest thing, because when you're in the moment of facing something traumatic, you just deal with it at that moment. You just don't have any time to like make rhyme or reason of it. You're just in it. And it's frightening, but the more frightening thing is when you're dealing with the post-traumatic stress disorder, or whatever you want to call it, after the PTSD, being in an ICU where I was frightened, I was medicated, I was pinned down, I was given a catheter. They tried to put me in an MRI machine, and I was just fighting. I was in a fight or flight mode, and I was fighting for my life. And my brother showed up at some point along the way after I was stabilized. I don't remember any of this. I just remember little glitches along the way. And memory's like a drawer. You pull it out and you access it, and then you put it back. And every time you open that drawer to access a memory, it changes somewhat. The story, the narrative changes. So, but from the beginning, this memory has been corrupted because of having a neurological glitch in my motherboard, just going out. And I woke up with the most clarity I had after all this trauma and all this seizing, lots of medications pumped intravenously into me. And the next thing I know, I'm in a bed, and I'm being told that they found a mass in my head, or a dark spot on the scan. I guess they couldn't get a good read on the MRI because I was fighting the whole way, and you have to be still on an MRI. They also want you to put contrast in your blood. So they knew there was something wrong. They did a biopsy on my brain, and I don't think I wasn't of sound mind to consent to it. Who would consent to getting your brain drilled? I don't know. I don't have any memory, but my brother was there. He probably thought that was the best thing to do, and they probably rolled with it. I signed off somewhere, next of kin, who knows. And I'm going to make this awesome green chocolate smoothie, which, while I'm telling the story, this is my Purium smoothie. I'm going to be doing a 30-day gut cleanse. And this is part of my story, is changing up my nutrition, changing up my life big time. Because at that point, when I went in, seizure and all, I was drinking alcohol. I was smoking cigarettes. I knew better, but I was not doing better. Level of insanity involved in all this. So I went through all this, and I wasn't out in the hospital for very long. I was out of that joint probably 10 days or less. And my life was flipped upside down. I mean, September, and then winter came, and it was a harsh winter. I went back up to Portland, Vancouver, Washington, just across the river from Portland metro area. And it was tough. Very tough. Don't mind me licking the beater. It's too good to waste. And when I was told that I have this oligodendroglioma, which oligo means a few, dendro means tree, representing the shape of these malformed cells. And it was the size of 2 golf balls. And they did not know how long it had been growing, but it finally hit a nerve bundle in my brain. And at that point, the symptoms of epilepsy showed, and I had epilepsy and have had epilepsy ever since. I was having like 10 seizures a day. I was placed on more and more medications. Every time something went wrong, then it was eventually like, take this. It was like Klonopin, Ativan, benzodiazepines. Become very habit forming because seizures affect your nerves, your nervous system. The brain is the motherboard of your nervous system. So I would have seizures slipping in and out of sleep. My sleep schedule was all messed up. So it was compounding years of not being optimally healthy, in fact, being detrimental to myself. And I ended up with a brain cancer, brain tumor. It was the worst result that I could think of at that time. Like, okay, this is harrowing. Like, I'm probably going to die. But when you're faced with death, you have no other option but to either accept it and or fight it. And I did both. I accepted it, and then I fought it. And so I stood my ground, and I was like, I'm going to change. But a lot of old parts within me did not want to change. The parts that wanted to stay working in the beer world, drinking beer, identifying myself as a craft beer guy, and living this life of like forever young. And I was 37 years old. It's like time to grow up, but I wasn't growing up. I was pushing 40 and I was still partying. And, I was a vegan for 18 years. I thought that was healthy, but, as you might guess, being vegan is not just, doesn't mean you're automatically healthy. There was a lot of processed and junk foods and sugars and wheat gluten and all this inflammatory foods involved. Plus I was drinking beer every single day and smoking at the end. I'd been through a lot of emotional pain, trauma. I was going through a bad breakup and divorce. Had a lot of unprocessed trauma, and self-neglect was a big part of my life. So looking back, I can tell that a lot of disease is accumulation of stress, not just of, your mind is stressed out, but your cells in your body are stressed out, or you're in an emotional stress. So let me grab a straw. So it took a lot of falling and getting back up, both literally and figuratively. And, you hear from most people that talk about success in anything, you have to fail to become successful. Like, failure is not the opposite of success. It's an integral component of success. So I learned that not pretty quickly. I didn't learn that nearly as quickly as I wanted to, because all of my friends worked in the beer world. And so the enabling, it was strong. It was very strong. And I was very deeply entrenched in that world. And I didn't have a sense of belonging anywhere else because I've been doing that for well over a decade. So I didn't know what to do with myself. Finally, after a bunch of mishaps and being highly medicated, I had one night where I almost crashed. I was drunk driving behind the wheel. By the grace of God, I didn't hurt anybody or myself. And I ran into a police officer who, as I was coming out of a convenience store, and he says to me, "Are you okay?" And at that moment, I was like, "No, I'm not okay. Like, I am intoxicated and I am on anti-seizure medications and I am lost and I don't know what I'm doing." And he was so kind. He gave me a ride home, and little did he know I had parked a car down the street behind him. Like, I was parked in the parking lot behind him, but as I was going to my car to drive drunk home, barely able to walk, he drove me home. And on the way back into my place, I lived in a basement apartment, which is terrible. This was in Portland at the time. And I fell down the stairs. Lucky I didn't break any bones. I hurt myself a bunch of times. Couldn't walk. And I got up off the floor. I'm like, oh shit, my car. I staggered back and got my car. Somehow got it home. God forgive me. Statute of limitations have probably already passed on this one, but I wasn't in my right mind. I was all medicated and going through a lot of trauma, a lot of grief. And Went through a lot of hard times. I could tell them all, but I'm not going to make this a really long video. But when I started turning my life over to spirituality, whatever that means to you, I'm not talking about religion. I'm not talking about dogmatic belief systems or anything like that. I started to believe in a force greater than myself. I started inundating my body with organic foods and learning breath work. I found Wim Hof method. I'm doing breath work and cold showers. And I was receiving acupuncture from a friend of mine, Amitai, and also my friend Gwen. And it made a big difference in my life. I was going to therapy. I was getting my mind, my body, and my spirit all slowly working together. Did a lot of reading, listened to a lot of audiobooks, was listening to binaural beats, and just healing myself through rest, through all these pillars of health: rest, meditation, nutrition, exercise. The best exercise is just walking and walking and walking and getting into nature and breathing. And it was some hard times, though. The basement apartment that I was living in had black mold. It was tough, but I made it. I got out thanks to all the people who had supported me. I would have found a way any old way, but people did support me, and that made it a lot easier. A lot of people ran away. A lot of people left. Like I always say, like cockroaches, when the lights go on, they scattered because, they don't want to deal with somebody that's no longer an enablement buddy. But a lot of people stuck around. And more recently, I've delved into my health in a big way, and I work with health foods now, organic foods, and I'm selling organic foods, not just for the sake of making money, but to provide health to people, because I know the importance of preventative health, organic nutrition, and I've educated myself quite a bit about nutrition. In fact, I was thinking about edifying my education because I'm an autodidactic learner and healer, with some kind of piece of paper that says I'm authorized to give people advice, or whatever. I know I am, but you don't get a piece of paper just from reading all the books at the library. You actually have to go in a class and test out and do all that. So I'm thinking about doing that soon. I'm almost 45 years old. I'll be 45 this month in just 12, 13 days from now. And I'm just so grateful for the people that have come into my life since all this has happened. And I honestly say, going through this terrible shit was the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. It was a gift. It really was a blessing to struggle so much and to find my way down a very harrowing and daunting path through a gauntlet of fears and failures and, insanity at times. People came, people left. Some people have still been in my life through all this. Some people don't understand what I'm going through. And then all this shit going down with this pandemic right now has been insane. The world has changed so much. In 2020, I had traveled a few times before that to South America, and I just got back for the second time in 2020 from Colombia, and just learned so much about myself traveling. If you want to learn about yourself, travel the world, see different places, taste different foods, hear different sounds, smell different scents. It's nothing like putting yourself in the unknown. Putting yourself in the unknown is where the growth happens. It's not staying in your comfort zone your whole life. If you want to change, you got to be willing to do things that you've never done before, to achieve things you've never achieved before. And that's where I'm at. Lots of organic greens, though, I'm telling you. And I'd like to get you on my 30-day ultimate lifestyle transformation. This is guaranteed, less than $11 a day. I've done a few of these, and I can tell you, man, once you clean out your gut, like Hippocrates said, the father of modern medicine said, the gut is connected to the mind and everything else. And all disease originates in the colon or the gut, lots of microorganisms, lots of stuff going on down there. If you're full of medications or eating junk processed foods, the average person consumes a credit card size worth of plastic every month. That's crazy. All these microplastics leaching into our foods. All plastics as a legal ingredient in like some breakfast cereals. Chemicals, pesticides, glyphosate, which is Roundup weed killer, sprayed on most of our conventional crops. That's why I'm so adamant about organic food. Yeah, just knowing the source of your foods. Pay the farmer or pay the doctor. If you think it's expensive to pay for organic food, think about all the doctor bills and medications you'll be on. You'll save yourself money in the end if you just treat your body like it is the most amazing and beautiful technology there is. For so many years, I neglected myself. And I want to share this gift of health with anyone out there that was willing to listen, because I see the videos of myself early on, 2013, 14, 15, 16, when I went through radiation chemo that year, even 17. What really turned it around for me was learning how to nourish my body. The food is huge. The food is huge. You are what you eat. What you feed your cells is what you become. And just some other things. I'd love to help people. My goal in life is to help people achieve their highest level of health, but it takes stepping outside of your comfort zone like I did, and I just continue to do every day. There's a lot I am still learning, and I'm just so grateful. It's been 2,833 days since September 10th of 2013, and I'm here alive, and I'm not just surviving, I'm thriving. I feel great, and it's only going to get better. But we're all going to die someday. We're all getting older. Drink up life while you have it. It's an amazing gift. Don't take it for granted ever. You can't live in the past. Forgive yourself, forgive other people, forgive those poor decisions that you've made and other people have made. Always be kind, but take no shit. Always be kind, but take no shit. Create healthy boundaries around things that don't serve you. And when you're clean, your vessel is clean, your body is clean, you're doing good things for yourself, you'll have a better gut instinct. You'll be able to assess what's good and bad for yourself. Know if it's not a fuck yes, it's a fuck no. And I'm still working through things. I'm human, just like all of us. But it's been an honor to get to share this with you and coming you to a place that's been a little bit of a struggle lately. But even so, I'm alive, and I thank God for it every day now. Have a gratitude journal, write in it. Keep track of your days. See how you're doing. Document your health if you're struggling with it. You can become a miracle. You are a miracle, but you can have radical remissions, radical recoveries. Tumors, disease, cancer can go away. Believe me, it happens. It has happened to me. So I love you. Talk with you soon.